and one that we're really looking forward to.
Being able to tie the technology solution to the actual problem. And I think that's one of the things that gets missed. And as we mentioned it earlier, we have a lot of companies that develop a great technology. And then they realize, wow, there's hundreds of millions of dollars that are flowing through the Department of Defense. Maybe I should try and, get a piece of that financial advantage that happens through supporting the DoD, which is great. But sometimes you try and, people try and force their technology into a fit with the government that doesn't necessarily work out. But speaking of some of those technologies, Bob, do you have a couple of companies that you're thinking of that you'd like to highlight as a part of those afternoon sessions that people may want to come and see and get their hands on and get feedback to the organization that's presenting that technology?
Well, we'll talk more about the capabilities in the actual companies. We'll release that information shortly. But some of the capabilities are looking at artificial intelligence and how it can be used across multiple domains of warfare. Looking at data, the application, the purity of data aggregation, the ability to display that data, and of course that ties into the artificial intelligence. Some environmental concerns because understanding the current administration priorities and the DoD Pentagon priorities on climate change, global warming, and other things. And we've got some very innovative companies that are getting after that problem through reusing, recycling things like water. Some new materials that can be used with multiple applications. So it really does boil down to the technology. And then there's going to be multiple applications. And that's what's really key about our panels is we're going to hear a very diverse set of requirements from very niche in the special operations to more of the service force applications. And then, of course, how can they be applied for national security and current and future capabilities or requirements that may or may not be developed yet. So just by presenting, I believe some of these early to late technology readiness level companies, it's going to open the dialogue. And I think that's one of the most important things. And we look at TRLs, that's a method of estimating the maturity of technologies or technology readiness level. And that was developed by NASA in the 1970s. And to the point about the companies, they have participated in our TIDE program. TIDE is a tech scouting and a tech transition program. How do we blanket and cast a wide net over technologies tied to our national critical and emerging technology lists, which are the current and future funding priorities, which we've seen in the approved budget is just coming out of the Pentagon that's been approved for fiscal year 23. So we're trying to really position North Carolina, the Southeast region, and our companies and academic institutions to meet the current and future needs. So looking at where those investment priorities are is absolutely key. And TIDE has been very instrumental in that. And it's all going to come together at this Defense Technology Symposium.
A great piece of information. Again, sometimes I think sometimes we all get ahead of ourselves and we focus more on the technology than the actual results or the capabilities that are required. Gentlemen, I just want to leave the floor open really quickly for you guys to make any final comments. But again, we are going to try and continue to push this out and just inform people of what's going on in North Carolina. We have so much going on in North Carolina that it's impossible for even us to know everything that's going on. But we definitely want to invite as many people as we can to join the DefTech community, get on Mobilize, get on all the platforms that we host, even follow us on LinkedIn because we're constantly posting information and putting out articles and things of that nature to bring people in. And so you have multiple opportunities to kind of have a touch point with the DefTech team. And we appreciate you guys reaching out, but we're also still continuing to push, not only the events that we have, but the technologies that are in our ecosystem. But I'll pause there and pass it over to Denny and Bob for any final comments.
Yeah, Denny, if you don't mind, I'll make just a couple comments and I'll let you close it out. But when you look at events like this, it's all about community. It's all about the networking opportunities, getting your capabilities, your technologies out there to understand those use cases and getting those warfighter touch points. That's what happens in face-to-face interaction. You just can't get in this Zoom world. You have an opportunity to market. If you set up an expo booth, you're now marketing to a very wide, diverse group of warfighting commands who, think about it, have got tens of thousands of people that they impact and influence through their programs. So marketing is absolutely key. And then, of course, you get to look for teaming partners, even compare some competitive advantage and look at other folks on the floor. So really want to encourage folks to come out, be a part of the community. We need you, and we look forward to seeing you at the DTS. Denny, over to you.
Well, thanks, Bob, and thanks, Rob. And I want to just acknowledge the work that Bob and Rob does with these podcasts every week to try to communicate information to our innovation ecosystem. I really appreciate it. You guys do great work with that. Let me just close out by saying that I understand from a business perspective, you have hard decisions to make because your time is your money. But keep in mind that the same applies to a different degree, but the same principle to the government folks. They're very busy. They only have so much time. And often, as a business, when you want to go see a government person, it's hard to do because you're never available. They don't answer their phone, or one of your emails gets caught up in the hundreds of emails they get each day. This is a chance to take a day and spin the wheel and come to these events and be able to get, as Rob said and Bob said, face to face with these folks. Pass them a business card. Spend 30 seconds with your elevator pitch. Talk to them and see if there's enough interest to get a follow-on meeting. Now that they've met you, perhaps they will do that. And you just can't do that via an email or a cold call. So this is a great opportunity. It doesn't come that often, but you have a chance to see what's happening at Fort Bragg, what's happening down at Quantico, Virginia. We'll have 2 folks from Quantico there. What's happening in Defense Innovation Unit, Army Futures Command. If you were going to try to make those meetings separately, it would take you days and a lot of money and travel just to be able to go and have these type of meetings. So this is kind of a one-stop shop. Take advantage of it. You can't beat the price. And again, Rob and Bob, thanks for all you do.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be the end of this episode of Defense Technology Talks. We're talking about the Defense Technology Symposium that is coming up again. The date is 26 July. Not a whole lot of time to get involved in this. Got about 20 days left before the kickoff of the event. Please register today. We're going to put all the information that we can in the podcast description so you can find everything that you need to know about this event and get registered today. It's going to be very, very important, not only for North Carolina, but for the future of the North Carolina innovation ecosystem. And you may just find a contact that can help you grow your business. We appreciate you guys coming on and listening to us today. And we look forward to seeing you in person on the 26th of July. Thanks. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Defense Technology Talks, hosted by the North Carolina Defense Technology Transition Office, or DEFTech. The views expressed in this broadcast are solely those of the individual contributors. As indicated, DEFTech does not take responsibility for those statements or opinions and accepts no responsibility or liability for any inaccuracy or omissions reported during this program. The content interviews are fair use for instructional purposes and to build awareness for the North Carolina innovation ecosystem. The full version of this presentation has been uploaded to our Mobilize platform. Mobilize is just another free service provided to you to access more national security and business collaboration opportunities. You can sign up for more information at deftech.nc.gov. Join us soon for the next podcast coming to a platform near you. DEFTech is a subsidiary of the North Carolina Military Business Center and receives its support from Fayetteville Technical Community College.